Today we continue. Never cut the cabbage, tear the cabbage. Apparently that's how to get the best flavor out of it. So today, since I've got plenty of time to talk about whatever, and look out the window, I figured I'd address this end of globalization thing that's going around. It sounds pretty ominous, doesn't it? The end of globalization. What exactly does that mean? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Well, it all depends on where you are in the world and what you do, I suppose. For some people, the end of globalization might be a really good thing because it means more jobs, more money in the economy. That would be if you're on the American end of things. For people on the Chinese end, the end of globalization would be very ominous indeed because it means, well, empty factories, unemployment, just a lot of bad things. And to help to paint a picture of what globalization is and why this end of globalization is such a big deal, I thought I might actually paint a picture. Let me see if I can put something in here. May I introduce Tim? Tim has a mobile phone company, and Tim just came up with a new idea for a phone. So he calls up his engineers, he tells them to get to work, and they do, designing a phone. After the engineers are done designing the phone, they go shopping for a factory. Unfortunately, factories in America are very expensive, but overseas in China, they can get the phones made at a discount. So they choose the Chinese factory. Then the Chinese factory goes to work making the phone. They put them on a ship, send them back to the United States, where they're put onto shelves, and you can buy them, and that's a perfect example of globalization. So in my hand, I am holding the perfect example of globalization. This is an iPhone 11 Pro Max. I'm not even sure how it works. This is my wife's phone. Now, this phone is an American phone. As you know, it's made by Apple, a company that's based in California, but it is made in China. So the design, everything that's supposed to go into this phone for the processor, it was all designed in California or in the United States. And then Apple went shopping for a factory in China to make, well, I mean, Foxconn makes their chips. That's in China. Everything on this phone is pretty much made in China, assembled in China, and then shipped back to the United States to be sold. It's also shipped everywhere out here to be sold. But yeah, this is the perfect example of globalization. And of course, that's done in order to save money on labor costs. Because, well, somebody in the United States working in a factory has to be paid a much higher salary than, let's say, somebody working in a Chinese factory. I'm not sure what the salaries typically are. Probably somewhere around 3,000 to 4,000 RMB a month. And yeah, that wouldn't cut it in the United States. You wouldn't even be able to survive. So that's the reason for globalization. It's much cheaper to make it here than over there. Of course, we've seen some of the drawbacks of that globalization as of late. Now that you understand what globalization is, you can understand the impact that it would have, because almost every American product, every American brand that you can think of, it's outsourced. The labor is outsourced to China and India and Vietnam and who knows where else, but China's the biggest one. So whatever it happens to be that you're buying, if it's a PC, if it's a television, pretty much everything is manufactured in China. So that is globalization. So you can imagine the impact that that would have on the Chinese economy if there was an end to globalization. It would be huge for the United States, because then you'd have manufacturing taking off like crazy if we started making everything domestically, that is. But for China, it would mean empty factories, unemployment, just a lot of really bad things, as I mentioned. So that's what the end of globalization would mean. Now, I don't think, again, that there's going to be an end to globalization. Not completely. we don't have the facilities in the United States to be able to make most of those products. So that's probably not going to happen. Now, on strategically important things like medicine and medical equipment, those are probably going to move back to domestic manufacturing. So, and that is a big industry. So that is going to have a major impact on the Chinese economy. I don't know that it's going to be the end of the Chinese economy, but certainly not a good thing. Homemade Chinese food. This is quarantine food right here. Just getting ready to have dinner. Hearing more and more news coming out of the world. I just heard that there's 24 people dying every hour in Italy, and 2 people every hour in New York City from the virus. I'm hearing about more new cases here in China being reported. They're saying that it's from imported cases, or people getting it from imported cases, but I don't know. It's all sounding pretty bad to me again. I'm afraid that this virus is going to come back to China. I don't know, this is such a strange situation. Yeah, it really feels like the end of the world in a way. I don't know. I don't like to get people too worried. I know we'll get through it, but I'm finding myself thinking more and more about what sort of world is going to emerge from this crisis. The one that I guess that we all know going into this may be very, very different from what comes out the other side. It's just kind of shocking to me that I'm even thinking about that. Have to think, what am I going to do for my family when this is all over? How many people are going to get through this? I will get through this. Don't worry too much if you're watching the video. Just the kinds of thoughts that go through your head when this sort of thing happens. It's just unreal. Just absolutely unreal. Yeah, dark times it seems. But I'm sure we'll all somehow get through it. Even me, I'll figure out what I'm going to do when this is over. What kind of business is left to be done. I don't know what's going to be left of the economy here. I hear in the news of a lot of steps being taken in the United States to preserve the economy, or to somehow set it up for a big comeback when this is all over, assuming that it doesn't last too long. I mean, who really knows? Maybe this really is the end of globalization as we know it. Sorry, get this carrots in here. No, oh, by the way, I'm making fried rice. More fried rice. Eating fried rice every meal these days. Yeah, maybe it really is the end of globalization, and not because laws or taxes, but because, well, most markets are shutting down, and I just don't know. Everything is uncertain these days. Fried rice. I hope it's as good as the stuff my wife makes. Somebody had mentioned that they wanted to see what it looks like out here at night, so I'm on the balcony. I'll take a little video of it. As you can see, it's nice sometimes to come out here and have a look. Just sit and look at all the lights. Yeah, looking out there, it's kind of nice to be able to look out and see the view, and it looks like just a regular city. You can forget that there's so much going on in the world with this virus, but I don't know. You go back and forth. You know, I hear on the news reports about, like I said earlier, 24 people dying every hour in Italy, and then they come back and they say that the vast majority of people are not being, affected by this, may not even see symptoms, and they really take you on a roller coaster ride. It's hard to tell. But I really do worry about the situation here in China, because I think people's guards are down. They're all going back to normal. They think that, the virus has passed and everybody can go back to work and just kind of go back to the ones that can actually leave their house. It just worries me that, that's going to lead to another wave, a big wave. It'll catch people by surprise because they don't think anymore. I mean, they're still doing things to protect themselves, but less and less, you know. So it could catch them by surprise. I hope not. But that's what I'm looking at is, who knows? Maybe by the time the 2 weeks is over, the virus will come back in a big way, and then just as we're able to leave the house, then suddenly we won't be able to leave the house. I certainly hope not, but it is something that's crossed my mind. And by the way, my wife's fried rice is much better. Mine didn't have much flavor. It looked really good, but, well, you know, I'm not a professional cook or anything. My wife makes pretty good food. I don't know what she does to give it so much flavor. I thought I'd put all kinds of stuff in there, but I guess just not enough. It looked good anyway. Well, I don't know. Maybe it did. You guys can comment on it. If it did look good, then you can say so. But, I don't know. Back to what I was saying about the virus. I guess just don't panic. Don't worry. We'll eventually get through this, and it looks like governments all over the world are putting in measures to try and lessen the economic damage. I don't know what's going to happen here. With all the talk, you know, as earlier about the end of globalization, I don't think it's going to be good. But if you happen to be in the United States or Western Europe or somewhere, I think with the measures they're taking that things will improve after a while. Right now it's going to be really rough going through this, but at least in the United States it sounds like you can look forward to some money coming in, and hopefully after this is over with the measures they've taken, business will spring back in a big way and everything will be all right. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, get yourselves prepared, have what you need if you don't already, and prepare to stay inside. Avoid, you know, going out there and getting in contact with people. You don't want to get yourself mixed up with this virus, and if you do happen to catch it, well, hopefully it'll be the mild version of it, and just, again, avoid going out because you don't want to get anybody else involved. And it'll pass. We'll get through this, and everything will be all right. But,